I'm Ozzie, and
Hi,
this is
Ozzie.
our slogan called "Learn to Be." Okay, you can see our colorful, interesting. It looks like not I'm not doing the education industry. We are doing like the commercial advertising area. Okay, so this is me, and quick introduce. I'm an artist and entrepreneur, crossover. Um, I was like an artist, and this fine art, contemporary art. It's kind of, some stuff in museum, like contemporary museum, art museum. And I failed 6 startups in life. I'm only 40 years old and still dreaming change the world. So this is my resume. Okay. And start from because I'm doing the fine art piece. So at the fifth business, I have a contemporary art center for education, for educate people, especially for from like 0 to adult. And I want to teach them what is contemporary art. So in Taiwan, like art like in Taiwan, like painting a tree like this. I travel to the world and I say, please paint a tree. They always paint like this, like I don't know how to say that. That's everywhere. But I say there's no trees like this in the world. How you drawing like the same way, like drawing the tree like this? So I figure out, in our like art, they say, oh, you are good at art, like you drawing like very, like the photos or something. You have a value system, like okay, you are good. But in art, it's not about this. It's about what you are passion for or what you want to, do something new and across the age to find something you want to create. So this is my class, the students, they drawing the tree. I only give the 3 colors and 1 ink, like a Chinese ink, and they drawing like this. They are from like 2 years old to like 5 years old kids, and um, through this class, I did a like experience process. Like I let them to imagine that they are a seed and put into the ground, and you feel like you smell the the
The soil.
the soil, and you feel the water, the humid, and you grow up. So it's kind of um, acting or some way to feel the tree itself. And I put, real soil to you smell it, and I put like when you like grow up, there's a typhoon or tornado or something, or animal attack. So they express the way they feel. It's not the shape of the tree. Okay, so this is the part, and the other part of this, you guys, how you guess how old are them? Like drawing this art piece, how old?
In these images,
Yeah,
about 13,
13. Okay.
maybe.
So maybe 8 or 9. Linda would know.
Okay, they are graduate or adult. So
No.
yeah. So
Yeah, I was
this,
going to say high school. Actually.
yeah, but this is why I failed in this business, because I spent like 24 lessons for drawing a line. So if you are parents, let's say I pay the tuition and you are for 24 lessons for drawing a line, and you know, they feel confused. But what I want to say is it's not about what you are drawing. It's about you are drawing uh, by yourself and your thought and your creativity. So this first class, I say, forget everything you learned and you join a line. You know, so I want to ask you how you will join a line without, you know, without all the ability you learned. You get rid of it and you will join a line. How you want to join? It's a test.
Wow.
It's kind of hard. So
Yeah.
in our classroom, it's kind of talking, not drawing. So like maybe parents will say, why you are always talking, not drawing, not you know, creating the painting or something. I say this is maybe this is the maybe you are the closest to the art in your life this time, because you are thinking like it's not, you know, like drawing a line. So like they are the students will say drawing a line with my foot or with my mouth. I say no, this ability is a, it's a lot of balance on it, you know. If you forget something, you forgot everything. You are not drawing by your foot, so it's not good. So find a way. So maybe students start to thinking how to forget everything to drawing a line. So one example is very good. Is they go to they took a lot of papers and throw it to the on the road, and then the bicycle or motorcycle to, you know, step on it, and they take it. They take it. Say, "Hey, Ozzie, I'm doing good. You know, forget everything. I'm drawing a line." I say, "No, it's full of technique, because you know the timing. You take the paper, and there's obviously a line on it, and they going like, what? Okay, so for like this, you know, thinking process, they think you know, so they drawing like drawing a line, different line, and it represent your, you know, spirit or something. So this is their line, like this is one class. So this is 24 classes. But what I want to say is, you know, in Taiwan, the parents didn't accept it. Like, what? I paid a lot of money and you teach me like this? You know, he he was doing good at painting, but after your class, he's like an idiot, like this. So, but you know, art is, yeah, like I say, you know. So this is the example for the parents. Like, okay, this is American, you know, very super artist like Saitompoli, yeah, 1966. Oh, okay, it's a, you know, it's 50 years ago. It's artist. It's an old style, you know, old style. But I say, you know, this so expensive. This 20, I don't know. It's a lot of big, you know, this is very important artist. So I told a parents like, you see,
Right.
and always students like, hey, Ozzie, I can draw it. It's easy. Yeah, always students say like that. But I say, you know, this guy drawing like this whole his life. So students like kind of scary, like, what? It's boring. They are like scary, like, okay, I say you can try like, you know, 1 week all drawing like this. So I want to tell them like, the artist find something they want, he want to pursue it. So art is, you can lie to others, but you can lie to yourself. It's not about a form. It's about something they want to dip into. So that's art. It's not about a form or technique. So these three painting is always, I always like, the middle one, he just put the white color on the white canvas. That's it. And the if client, he just reaches a client blue and pen all the blue on the subject and say, okay, this is my work. Yeah, it's, but it's old style. I mean, this is not contemporary. It's a modern art. Modern art means old style. It's a history. So look back, my students is, they are good. It's much, it's, so I start from here. So I think in art education, everyone have a rule, like this is good art and that is not good art. So in art, art education should be the widest, the spectrum or more creativity. But in Taiwan, like everyone have an answer, like, oh, this is good, this is not good, this is good, this is not good. So I'm kind of depressed, or and actually I closed the business because our client don't buy it. They want to say, no, I don't want, I wanted my child to be, good at painting so they can apply for a college or something, not for an artist, for a testing machine or something. I don't, get a college. So 2015, I have an advertising company. So in 2014, in Taiwan have a very big change in social. Uh, I don't know how you know that, because
Sunflower movement.
yeah, it's called sunflower movement. So and uh, the social atmosphere is, it feel like we can change something by ourselves, like a social innovation. So in 2014, I think, okay, my company, the profit is like 120万,
Yeah, maybe like uh
30,000
30,000.
US dollars, the profit. So I just put 30,000 profit to do something about education with my expertise. My expertise is like curating. I was curating the museum, the exhibition things, and I want to curating some exhibition or festival for education, and it's called Naughty Education. This is 2015. Yeah, so if you see the name Naughty Education, and the Confucius looks weird, and I gathering how, if you are doing, if you think you are doing the new education way, you can be the uh,
Exhibitor.
exhibitor. Yeah, you can apply for free and you can show off what you are doing. So all the parents, teachers, schools, NPO, NGO, startup, whatever, or students, if they have an idea and if they are qualified. So this is the biggest education festival in Taiwan, because it's, it's like a very creativity, or you look like this. So a lot of stuff, interesting things going on, and we are good at doing this, mm, okay, we think Confucius can be himself. So maybe Confucius living now, maybe he want to do dancer or photographer, maybe, something like this. So people get interesting, like, wow, this kind of cool stuff is not like, education, especially in Taiwan, always boring. Or is the government want to express them like a policy, so if they are free, but no one want to go to see the exhibition. But in our this study education, so people get interesting, and it's like a movement, like, wow, education can be cool, can be, lifestyle or more design, or young people can join, like this way. So 2016, in naughty education, it spent a lot of money because all is free. You know, um, no tickets, no sponsor, no everything, and yeah, Speeder is for free. So I lost a lot of money, almost like a bankrupt. So our financial, colleagues say, stop it. You could earn the money, get focus on your business, stop doing the education stuff. You are not the foundation, or or you are not nonprofit. Go ahead. So, but in my mind, I think naughty education is kind of my passion. It's like my art piece. It's from. It's not. I'm doing advertising for 20 years. It's kind of bored. I want to do something. It's more valuable, and it's like my passion. So naughty education is my passion. So I still focus on it. So the next year, um, because of the successful for naughty education, so next year I sell the ticket, and I get sponsored, and I talk to my financial colleagues, like, this time I want don't lose my money, so I can hold it. So last year expo. So why from naughty education to Zashir is because naughty education in Taiwan, lots of young people say, okay, I'm naughty, so I'm good. It's a bad social communication. So I changed to Zashir. Zashir in Chinese word, in Mandarin, is called 杂学校. It's like school. It's like how to spell that?
Yeah, so 杂学 actually was one of the ancient philosophy, one of the ancient schools of philosophies. Basically, it means like integrating all different kinds of thoughts and like make it like more mutually flourishing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So surprisingly, the 2016, the first Zashir, we break a lot of records. We sell tickets like 50,000 tickets for 2 days, and in the Zashir, we have a workshop, conference, exhibition, any kind of learning stuff we put inside. So it's like a pop-up school, it's a like pop-up school. So, you know, um, I was amazed, like, why people want to buy the ticket into a, boring subject called education. But because our content is more, flexible and interesting, and we're gathering the alternative ideas, it's a open your imagination. So that's the this father, he looks like me. He's kind of, my age is 40, but I think I'm like young people, and suddenly become a parent. I don't know why, but I still, want to learn new things, not the old style way. You know the the horrible things is my father's teacher teach me. and then teach the grandson the same guy. But the world is changing a lot. So this guy, you know, he's big fan. You know, a lot of our, you know, young parents, a lot of fans and young people, they want to, you know, the kids is a little, but he wants, you know, get the new idea how they want to. They don't want to put it to the traditional way, you know, to educate. Okay. So 5 years, we gather 1,050 more.
Change initiatives and
Yeah, yeah, this is good. Change initiative, and like 200,000 participants. So in Taiwan, it's kind of now we are become a biggest exhibition in Taiwan, the festival, but the topic is education. So the government and the people say, wow, why education can become a festival? So, but in Taiwan, I think, yeah, that like Adler say, Taiwan is like open government, and we have a democracy, and people want, they can, you know, whatever you want to do if you're not against the law. So we have a lot of people doing, you know, new things. It's interesting thing, and put into Zashir. So it's very fun. You know, you have, I don't know. We are not really talk about the deep education. We want to share these things, like everyone can join this movement to become a new, I don't know, new change, something like that. Okay. So let me show you some pictures of our exhibition. Yes, like workshop. And the place we stay, you know, is kind of cool, right? The place we, you know, like let the parents changing the diaper. Yeah, it's cool. And then after 5 years, and the government, you know, want to cooperate with us because they really want to change education, but you know the system is too big, you know. So they want to. I want to put new things into the traditional education system, make them, you know, change a little bit. But I'm kind of connector of the government and the startup create.
like change makers in education, basically.
Yeah. So, you know, our vice president or something, they want to join, and they getting some news because they are always stay in government, the office. So they are not what young people or the change maker what are doing, and always change maker not get the resource from, you know, they are, because they are new and they are like entrepreneurs. So they are, so I'm connecting they to, okay, if you are doing, if you want to focus on like STEAM, and we have a lot of STEAM, not the old style STEAM, like a new style STEAM, like this. Okay. So this is, yeah, this is the exhibition. And
So can I interrupt? So in those photos, you had the vice president
yeah,
of
yeah,
Taiwan, and then the minister, the director of the Ministry of Education. I mean, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And they, like every year they will come and like show up and say, hey, I'm like focusing on education innovation, so I participate in Zashir, like this. I'm kind of tired. Okay, get off, do something, you know, real, not just show off and a lot of camera. Like, hey, I'm in Zashir, you know. So this picture shows, you know, our participants is kind of young people. You know, it's not a, you know, in different countries, the education exhibition is all like parents or teachers, kind of a little elder, you know. But in Zashir, it's like college students or young people. We are kind of care about education, and then they want to find a way. They want to self 自我实现。
Yeah, self-actualize.
Yeah, but because our exhibitor is kind of doing cool things. It's not maybe nonprofit and social goods, social innovation. So they are searching for, wow, you can doing this way for education. So I want to find my way. So it's young people, but actually have like teachers, yeah, and the principal of school. Okay, this is for we gather different area, not only education, like design or economic, um, very different area. Like Andre Tan, you can.
Yeah, Audrey Tang, she's transgender and she dropped out of middle school, never go back to school, but she's one of the ministers of our like
Yeah,
exec
digital.
executive body of our government.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she's after she dropped out of middle school, she started her startup in tech, and for like 2 decades, she has been on the board of advisors for Apple and like all these like tech giants. Yeah.
She's good. Yeah, she's good. She's alternative. We want to put some, not the typical successful topic. We're gonna find different. This guy is kind of alternative young people. Okay, so there's a okay at the beginning I think Taiwan's education in Taiwan sucks. But then after 5 years, I joined the movement, and I go abroad to different education conference. I figure out not that bad. Maybe we have, and then I realized there's a very important things like in education, the the core of education is you respect every individual. That means democracy for me. So I think in Taiwan we are the most
Like liberal or
liberal
democratic.
country, which there some a lot of people not think we are country, but I think country. So I think in Asia we are the liberal and the diversity country in Asia. So we call it experiential education. And we are the first one have the law.
So what does it mean by experimental education? It means that uh, the government allows you through different formats to opt out the national curriculum or opt out whatever government regulations through a deliberative democratic process. So basically, you as an individual or groups or institutions, you can submit a proposal to the review board and say, okay, look, I want to direct my education in this way, and the reason for that, and this is my plan, and there will be a board of like citizens joined with different fields, deliberatively discuss on the plan, and then as long as it doesn't violate others' rights, it's not harmful, and you really have your own plan, then you basically can do it. So it's kind of like homeschooling, unschooling being legitimized into a national scale. And since 2014, the numbers has really surged a lot from like few hundreds to thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, so a lot of alternative like experimental school, they join last year to show them. Like last year, I hear about a hip hop elementary school. Like what? Hip hop can be the thing of the school, and but the principles say it's not really hip hop music style. It's a hip hop attitude. Like you should express themselves and to the society now. You know, so I think the diversity for now. I think okay, all around the country, all around us is kind of in like wow, good. Like especially mainland China, you know, education is not the they are not have a freedom to. Education is like the government, you know, hold it like no, it's not open. Okay, so I found out this. So this in 2017, I think we have a
Pavilion.
yeah a place for exhibition for the whole experimental school inside. So you know most of people or most of the parents are kind of what is experimental school. So I'm doing the things like I put it together and one stop you can see all the experimental school and the special the special part is the school is introduced by their students. So a lot of parents like, wow, the students, you know, my child is not proud of their school, but this experimental school, the students are proud of their school, and they can like talk about the presentation is so good, and like okay, we our school doing something like that is different from the traditional school. So a lot of parents like they're so shocked, like okay, I never see my child is so happy or so proud of their what they are learning, like these students like there. So you're gonna get in line like this. So yeah, that's it's kind of like you know this I think this one is always get in line. You know, people is crowded and they are anxious for what the you don't want to see different you know this alternative school. Yeah. So later I will put Adler. Adler is like young people, but he's good at you know learning system. So Zashir is kind of pop-up school for lifelong learning. We put a lot of things and you know open the imagination, and so we put you know we have a different category like golden age, like EDU and youth, and I want to have a you know my vision. My vision is I want to have a system you know to spread out like every city should have a like a Zashir, like a festival entertainment, like a learning system, and like a呃那个孵化怎么讲
Incubation.
incubation of the education innovator, something like that. And this is my vision. So I'm trying to, you know, copy the system to our different city and having this funny way. And Adler is kind of my 智库啦.
Yeah, basically I'm I'm working on the R&D side
Yeah,
for
the R&D.
yeah.
Okay. So next part is for Adler. He will explain the R&D of Sashir.
Yeah, so to talk about the design for Zashir's ecosystem, I have to talk about my experience. So around like 10, 15 years ago, experimental education wasn't available in Taiwan yet. Of course, all these free schools, alternative schools were seen as like um, outliers or even like yeah, freaks or whatever. Yeah. And by the time I I study in an alternative school, one of the few alternative schools. There wasn't a high school yet, so many of my friends they had to go back to conventional system. And throughout that process, I saw them losing their passions, losing their creativities, becoming different, while they already originally had their like passions and even very talented. So I decided to make a documentary to track how were they changing throughout that process. Um, so there's the main character of this film is one of my best friends. I consider him like a very talented Da Vinci like person. He before the age of like Wikipedia, he self-taught himself like 3D animation and like some maker skills. Pretty amazing. However, like when he encountered the high school entrance exam, originally he was a little bit reluctant, thought that was boring, but eventually he got kind of addicted to seeing those test grades. He went to one of the best schools uh, and one of the best classes within that school. However, the traditional way of teaching wasn't really well suited for him. So originally he wanted to study like industrial design, but he didn't get that great mark enough to get into such college, but instead got into like fashion design. For a person like Einstein, who doesn't really have a sense of like popular fashion, it was quite um, difficult to him. So he tried to get what he can get from the school, but he really couldn't. Then he decided to leave and reapply for college. However, his family encountered some financial problems that he had to um, take responsibility immediately. And because of the lack of development of his original potentials, he wasn't able to do those at, at all during his high school years. So he couldn't earn money from like maker skills or animation skills. Eventually, he signed up for the military and served until now. Yeah. So to me, it's really sad story. The film has been screened around the world, also including like New York, San Francisco. Uh, of course, if it was me to choose, I would rather like not to screen to these places, but for my friend to become who he wants. Yeah, which is also like Josh's slogan. So I see that the exam system, the teaching to the test system really has such impacts on students' life, not only in Taiwan but also everywhere around the world. But then with years of research, because I really don't want to see another child like that, wasting their talent, like really not being able to become uh, the best of them. But then I realized that uh, those um, those those attributes that I just shared, they actually are emergent properties from a bigger systemic problem. With years of like system thinking and other research, I learned that uh, as long as we have the same societal system, which I would call relying competitive exhaustion, we will have the same result because we um, it, we think that resources are limited. We exploit resources, and institutions they distribute these resources through competitive means. And agents, they compete for resources, occupy the allocated resource, consume the resources, and for those that are not used, they are wasted. So for such system to continue, it's inevitable for inequality to continue, for insustainability to continue, and also for fragility to continue. And um, those phenomenons that we see, the phenomenon we see in education are just just a tip of the iceberg. So to with this realization, I start to explore how might we also adding on to the question that was raised, how can we, the question in the opening of our conference, how can we shift the paradigm towards, I would call a more regenerative, reciprocal coexistence way of living. So a lot of people talk about like um, permaculture or maybe like circular economy. There are many people already working on very important stuff in different disciplines. However, in education, what we only have, I would say, maybe like climate change curriculum or like ecosystem curriculum. But however, the education itself, the rationale, the system itself is not redesigned. They're just teaching the content without changing the experience, without changing that the way that's being operated. So with years of research, including, of course, building upon the work of Dewey, Jean Dewey, Ivan Illich, or like Paulo Freire, all these people, and also the wisdom from Eastern philosophy, um, I've de- I'm developing a theory called learning by contributing. By saying learning by contributing, it means that with that innate altruistic nature or compassion or care, however, whatever the way you frame it, um, that, for example, like learner-centered education like to has that model saying like all children are natural learners. I like to add on to that learn all children are not just natural learners, they're also natural carers. So we care about ourselves, also about the world around us, the people around us, because we care. So we want to know more, we want to do something. So with that motivation, if that motivation could be directed into contribution, then the people, the subject being cared, um, they will feedback, they will reciprocate to your action, to your contribution. And that reciprocation, either tangible or intangible, will become opportunities and resources for further growth. So in the original system, we compete for learning resource. We consider that if by going to Harvard, you get the best learning resources so you can learn better. But instead, if you can start contributing to the one that you care, then you will start receive opportunities, resources that could further your growth, your learning, and that will increase your agency instead of like continually being reliant upon that competitive distribution process. So actually, education could be a process that would say addressing societal needs through self-actualization. So um, like realizing that the potential of this theory in changing how education, the rationale of education, I start to investigate in seeing how might we put this into practice, how might we intervene. So looking into our society, there are so many, as you can see, so many systemic problems, subsystems, and there's there is one thing I see that first of all, the young people, students, children, they have a bunch of questions about the world, about themselves, but without many places to explore them. But with that, with that passion, with that curiosity, with that urge, that could actually that actually has the potential in changing our socio-political culture, which I see is being schooled into consumeristic passivity. Yeah, we use votes, we use taxes to buy political service and then go away or so and so on. Yeah. So if we can direct that towards a more like higher agency or such kind of habit in young people, then we can see a different kind of society. That's what I envision. Oftentimes, one of the hurdles is their relationship with their parents. Their parents might be considered maybe like controlling or protective, preventing them from doing or exploring things. But as we mentioned in the conference last week, finding our places in the system by empathizing, we will actually understand that while controlling parents might lead to, for example, defiant children, and that could lead to a vicious cycle. But oftentimes but behavior we see as controlling or overprotective, they come from previous experiences, education, and also their authentic concerns, insecurities about their children. So how do we intervene? I also see the potential in media. So on the left, we see this is the ordinary way we operate media. Basically, we sense some kind of social trend, we set the topic, do research, and blah, blah, blah. It's all in the black box, and the readers just read or choose not to read the work. However, we see a more democratic or collaborative potential in that. So, um, so, so in human rights, the access to media is actually listed upon the human rights, but it's rare that we actually actualize that. If we actually actualize that, we can utilize the power of the people. We can use media as a place to respond to what the people actually care instead of feeding them information as passive consumers. They could be part of the collaborative process. So the work of the media is co-created, co-explored by the audience. So the way we do this, I like to share a story of one of our cases. So there's this Lydia. She studied at a pretty good high school. However, she's from a single parent, low income family. Her grandma got into some health problems that no one could take care of her. So she decided to drop out of school to take care of her grandmother. Originally, her father was quite concerned, but she learned that actually self-directed learning, unschooling, is more effective and efficient than schooling, and she was quite satisfied with her choice. However, her father was still concerned, continuously telling her that I know that you really care about grandma, but look, if you don't go to college, we can't we can't change. We will continue to be stuck. So why don't you go back to school, get your degree, take the exam, go to college, th- and then see what happens. She was quite confused because um, first of all, she recognizes the power of self-directed learning uh, in contrast to regular schooling. Also, but she also didn't want to make her father worry. But at the same time, with that realization, she didn't want that going to college just for getting a degree. Uh, just do this because that might be a waste of money and time and so on. Which money, although the tuition in Taiwan is way cheaper than the States, but still to a low income family, it's quite a burden. So um, we through many workshops and also online like open data, we form our themes every month. And for 1 month, the theme was about overeducation, underemployment. She decided to join to become one of our co-interviewers. So she came along with us to go to like the LinkedIn equivalent platform in Taiwan, interviewing the executive, and also this is a woman who succeeded without a college degree and took her degree, got her degree after her success in business, and so on. And also we did some research. So so after this exploration, she also helped doing some editorial work and also some research together. She brought back a magazine to her father saying that, Dad, these people, they showed their stories without going to college immediately or not going to college at all. And even that Lincoln executive told me that if I had that if I had that successful story in private tutoring, out competing those prestigious college students, then I already proved my employability and so on. So it actually might be more beneficial, not only economically, but also to my growth, that I start from working, contributing some way that I could also explore myself, then decide whether I'm going to college. So her father was more relieved, and I say, okay, go on. So she applied to work uh, at first as a kindergarten teacher, but she was so passionate and showed her potential. Eventually, she become one of the administrators. I mean the leaders of the kindergarten, and then someone actually invested in her to start a alternative school. Um, so after years of working, she felt that she had a really rich experience, but also she wanted to improve her theoretical mm, foundation. So without taking the SAT equivalent in Taiwan, basically without taking tests, she used her experience, her portfolio, and got into the so-called, of course, I don't like the hierarchy, but the so-called top university in Taiwan. Yeah, without taking a single test, without preparing for that college entrance exam. And then now on the left side, you see this photo, she being interviewed by many like popular media. And on the right side, she got the presidential award for something, and like having tour speeches around Taiwan, especially to those disadvantaged, sharing her story, encouraging them. This is not our only story, of course, but see, here you can see that we are changing this dynamic um, by using learning by contributing, and also a media experience I would call reflexive in media, that she, through this experience, she brought back new learning experience to her parents, and also through her actual outcomes and achievements, she is relieving their worries and bringing back joy, and also increasing their security. So that dynamic could change into a more positive, like healthy dynamic. And this doesn't only happen to her. On the left side, you see a girl hiding her face. She was so shy, and also had some mental health problems. Despite that, she was also at a pretty good school. She eventually dropped out of that school because of some mental health problems, but she also joined our reflexive media program, and we went to Aero. This was in 2012, together as a co-interviewer. Throughout that process, she eventually um, um, grown her project, and this is her 3 years, 4 years ago in Beijing, receiving an award in education. And that title of that is for the one who changes education might be the one who didn't attend college. That was her speech for receiving that award. Yeah, and this one is another boy who wasn't able to pass the test for high school for 3 times, so he decided to give up and locked himself down in his room for a year playing Game Boys. Uh, but he eventually um, learned that there is this option of experimental education, and at the same time becoming one of our program members. He joined our documentary project, and eventually now he become a um, sustainable architect and um, videographer. So basically, what he's doing right now is like at the same time doing sustainable architecture and also doing videos for the government, showing how architecture could be different. So these are the change stories, and we see that there's this potential of media from changing um, its original role as a more of a information disseminator into a facilitator for exploration. And also with this change, citizens could be reliant consumers of political services into active co-learners and co-creators of society. So by learning, with learning by contributing, reflexive media, and all these prototypes that I had before with my nonprofit, um, I really see that it's possible to make like Dewey Spirit, Roger Spirit, Elick, Ferre's Spirit into a new attitude or style of living by turning problems into learning materials, by turning the world into sandboxes of hope. And I met Ozzie um, a year before Naughty Education Festival, and we really found we are we really have that resonation with each other's ideals, and we see that Zasher really has that potential in bringing this into a broader scale. So I worked more on the research and development side for years, and Ozzie in increasing that impact and also bridging relationships. So right now we see that the soil has become fertile. Um, the the acts for experimental education is becoming more mature. Also, digital democracy is introduced by Audrey Tang to Taiwan. Now, all the government data is open to the citizens. They can use those to code whatever apps or so on. And also, with COVID-19, Taiwan is doing a pretty good job, maybe one of the safest places in the world right now, because we have a high trust and collaboration between government and citizens. So we see this as a time for we to bring together what we've experienced in the past years, what we've learned in the past year together. So right now, based on those prototypes we had, we developed a framework that loops the loops the learning by contributing experience. We start from caring, and you embark on a quest to explore and to contribute, and then you transform what you learned into resources or opportunities for your own and others' growth. And we also develop an ecosystem that will be really regenerative. So basically, questions will lead to dialogues, and also festivals of a more reified experience. And lab will be a group of more committed people driving these changes. And all of these changes will be documented into publications that will be shared to a broader audience. So this year, we're bringing together there's the theme of the year of social imagination in the post-pandemic era. We like to explore the critical issues that's being raised during this time. For example, like consumerism at the brink of collapse in many societies, and also many issues. How do we treat nature and so on, and energy? And with this, we really like to invite all of you to to begin this journey with us. Learn to fit, learn to be, not taught to fit. We'd like to invite you to our campaign this year, and also have a co-learning experience together for a very long term. Thank you very much.